So before we dive into today's episode, let me ask you something. Are you an emerging interior designer eager to launch your own business but unsure of where to start? Or maybe you're a seasoned designer feeling stuck, working tirelessly in your business, but not seeing the growth that you want? Have you invested in design school, courses, and webinars only to be left confused about how to build and grow and scale a successful interior design business? If you're nodding your head yes, then you're in the right place. From my own journey of discovering my passion for interior design later in life, building a part-time business while working full-time, and navigating the gap between employee and entrepreneur, I've learned that traditional education doesn't prepare you to run a business. And that's why we've created the Employee to Designer quiz. So this quiz is a free resource that will help you pinpoint which business phase you're in, whether that be the transition phase, the build phase, the grow phase, or the scale phase, and it shows you what's holding you back. So I want to invite you to take the quiz now so that you can unlock your free guide with a step-by-step instructions to conquer your current phase that you're in and propel you for your business forward. So let's turn your design dreams into a thriving reality. All right. So hello, and welcome to the Employee to Designer podcast, the podcast that teaches and empowers professional interior designers and decorators how to turn their gifts into a multi-figure business in a smart, responsible, and healthy way. I'm your host, Monique Nicole, and in today's episode, we'll be discussing a topic that will help you transition from employee to designer, no matter if you're an emerging designer and just starting out, or if you're a seasoned designer that feels like an employee in your own business. Today's topic is all about designing your own buzz. And we're going to be talking about everything from how to craft your compelling stories, pitch to media, and even build a brand that stands out. And specifically, we're going to talk about what are the steps that you need to take to make this happen. So I'm excited to invite you to join us as we uncover the strategies, the mindset shifts, and the practical steps needed to turn your dream business into a thriving enterprise. But before we dive in, I want to introduce you to our guest today that I am super excited to have. She is a friend of mine. She is a previous design client. And she tells her story, or our story, I should say, probably better than I do. So I'm going to let her do that. But I do want to give you a little bit of background on her and why I'm so excited to have her talk with us today. So she is Miss Shante Bacon, is a serial entrepreneur. She is a thought leader. She's a keynote speaker. She is rooted in social justice, and she's a social justice crusader. She is, in my eyes, and many others, a digital innovation expert in social media, marketing strategy, and PR communications, as well as technology and media. And she's going to talk a little bit about that later. In different areas, in CPG, politics, music, and entertainment, which is where we connected. But overall, she leads the vision and strategic offering to deliver 21st century marketing equality and creative solutions to help brands optimize their human experience with products and services that make a difference in the lives of their customers and constituents. She's accountable for over $2 million in P&L, executive level client relationships, account growth, big ideas that generate strong results for clients, best-in-class performance, and communication teams. She's also the executive leader of a Manhattan-based African-American female-owned business with the support of 15 field teams across the country. She represents the agency's POV as a keynote speaker, panelist in industry and community events. And, what I love about Shante is that she really is rooted in helping and design digital experiential offerings to keep the peace and the ever evolving trends that shape the marketing and communications landscape. And last but not least, she is the lead strategic and creative pursuit of 2020-21 News Business Wins with the focus on urban youth and professionals, including some of these big giants that I know you've heard of, like Google, YouTube, Apple TV, NBC, Peacock, Paramount, Netflix, Disney, National Geographic, and Amazon. So I am super excited, without any further ado, to introduce you to her. Shante, please make sure that you turn on your mic so we can hear you.
Mic on, and
Yes.
this is my twin, and
Yes.
he has to be seen. Say
Hi.
hello.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi.
Oh, thank you. Now you're going to sit down. Okay. Mommy, get the remote for me. Hi, everybody.
Hello.
So sorry. That is my sweet sunshine. And he's 3 years old. He'll be 4 in a couple weeks.
Yes. I forgot to also share that we share the beautiful gift of being a mom. So I'm so happy to have you on here and share your experience. I want to talk about that, like how you have reached such pinnacle levels of success, even as a single woman, as well as now as a mom, because I know that's a journey that we both share. But without any further ado, I just want to first welcome you. And
thank you.
Yes,
I'm super excited to be here. I've been knowing Monique forever. And, everybody is into the podcast game, but Monique and her expertise in interior decorating and design has changed the energy and the quality of life for me, for sure. And in my opinion, interior decorating and designing is a quality of life issue. I think it's right up there with, making sure that your home is a safe and sacred space and someplace where you want to come home to at nighttime. I don't care what anybody says. A messy, unruly home, that is a mental health challenge.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. And, I love that we've had an opportunity to connect on so many different levels and different areas. I mean, I've seen the work that you've done with your agency. I've seen just the level of professionalism that you exhibit, even just working with you as a client. And I've also seen, the friendship side. So for those of you who don't know, like, I actually look up to Shante. Like, there's been times where I've called and asked her for advice. And so she's also a great mentor. And so that's why.
And I also call Monique for advice all the time.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead.
We support each other. Yeah. Yeah. So I appreciate you for that. And just over the years, being such an inspiration. So I want to selfishly pick your brain today.
Okay,
I know you've done a lot of stuff with your agency. So first, I have a couple questions. But first, before we get into, I know probably some questions that, our audience really wants to know when it comes to PR and communications. I'd love for you to just kind of start us off with sharing how you got started in PR and communications and kind of what led you to do the work that you do today.
Sure. So, like you mentioned, we both got our starts in the music business. I went to Hampton University, proud Hampton Pirate, HBCUs. I think are the best breeding ground for, life overall, but definitely to get you prepared to be an entrepreneur. After I was a Def Jam college rep, all in college. Like the last 2 years of school, I worked at the school radio station. And that helped me to everybody who was coming through the campus, make sure that I was there for the meet and greets, meeting people like Jay-Z and Dr. Dre and Mace and Diddy and all of them when they came to school, to bring their artists through, setting up the interviews, working with the label reps, and then had applied for a Def Jam college rep gig that I did get. And then worked that college rep gig until I graduated and got a chance to make a recap of everything I had done and submitted to Kevin Lyles and Leora Cohen and Julie Greenwald. By the grace and sisterhood of a woman named Suzanne Burge, she walked it into Kevin and he hired me on the spot, held a job for me for 6 months until I graduated. Wow. And then I went right in like a week after I graduated from school. Best experience ever. I spent a total of 8 years there. It was 2 years in college, 6 years afterwards, and was promoted multiple times, given a lot of responsibility, cried a lot of tears, learned a lot of things, and and most importantly, lessons in resourcefulness, critical thinking, problem solving, the things that you're really going to need to run a business and keep it alive. This business is
Yeah.
19 years old, and there's not a single day that goes by that I am not using one of the lessons that I learned early on in my career, in my early 20s, in the music business. So after I resigned from my job and was like, I had the itch to be an entrepreneur, I wanted to start 135th. I incorporated it on January 5th, 2005. So when people ask me what the date of the agency's birthday is, it's January 5th, 2005, which happens to be my dad's birthday. And my dad passed away when I was 16 years old. So I celebrate the birth of the agency and my dad's birthday on January 5th. Once we started, we both of us had long roots in the music business. Saptosa was a music writer for Vibe, Source, Double XL. She did some free fact checking for O Magazine, Rolling Stone, 17. So very well respected name in the world of journalism and writing and hip hop media. She knew everyone, and I knew all the label people and the music execs and all of that. And so we were thinking we were going to come out and we were going to continue and pursue careers in the music business until the rude awakening came that literally, if you're entrepreneurial or freelance in the music business, you're working for stardust, meaning that they believe that because the music industry believes that it's so hot and everybody wants in and more, there's a long line of people waiting to do things for free, that if you're going to provide a service that you could take the stardust and the, pixie dust falling off of their promises and dreams and take that to go pay your mortgage, and it just didn't work. And so we were like, yeah, this is not the way you grow a business. Right. So we strategized a pivot into film and television. Wow. We had an intern who had a friend. I mean, it literally was like that. And the friend wanted some free work. And I was like, we don't work for free. She was like, please, just this one time, we should do this. And she convinced us and we did it. And we knocked it out the park. And this one woman who worked at one of these institutional field marketing companies that gets hired by every studio, she loved the work. And so she took our name and spread it to all the studios. And literally, once she did that, it was like one domino fell. And then just like that, we were from 2009 to like December 2010, we were officially in the film and television business. First big clients was Disney hiring us for, what was that Rapunzel film? Tangled and Tron with Jeff Bridges.
Oh my God, I had no idea. Do you know, like my daughter's one of her favorite movies is Tangled. So now I can tell her Auntie Shante.
Oh yes,
has something to do with it.
Tell her Max the horse. First of all, I'm an animated film person. Like a lot of people, they only get into it because of their kids, and I'm like, you're missing all the lessons and the magic and the visuals in animated films. I can watch a Shark Tale, Incredibles, any of that all day long. So there's a lighthearted relaxfulness. I'm making up words here about animated films, but anyway, that helped us. That I really appreciate the value of it. And also the fact that when moms need something to do with their kids on the weekend, that they show up. Your RSVP rate is 105%. Right. Any other time it'd be like 40%.
Right.
Or 60%. So once that domino fell in the film and television business, that hurled us into doing public relations and communication strategy on a much bigger level, very consistently, and having something that the media people really cared about, and setting up press junkets and press days and media alerts and all of that. And so, that's really where the grooming came from in it. I mean, this is 2024. So we've been in the film and television business hardcore now for about 12 years. And we've worked a lot of films, a lot of number one films like what is my favorite film by Barry Jenkins? Moonlight.
That's what I was thinking about. I was just gonna
Film
say you guys
I'm
did that
most
a couple
proud
years
about.
ago, right? Yeah, that was a
Film
great
I'm
film.
most proud about. Avengers, the first
Mm-hmm.
Avengers. Um, Hotel Transylvania, like lots of
Mm-hmm.
films that have won awards and just really gone the distance. And so we're proud of that. We work a lot of television, and then pivoted into tech when we won the Google business in 2016, and
Mm-hmm.
then pivoted into politics when we won some political business in 2018 for the midterms. I would say that the political business is more dependent upon the political season. And so I
Mm-hmm.
would say that the political thing is more in and out depending on the political climate. But the more consistent work is in tech and also in film and television. And so that's how we got into it. I think that
Yeah.
that was the question, was how did we
Yeah.
get in?
I do appreciate you sharing your story because I feel like it's really important for people to hear and understand like what your journey has been like. And
Mm-hmm.
I love how you said like you met like one person who completely changed the trajectory of your business. And I think that's so
Mm-hmm.
important because whether you're working with clients or you're working with partnerships or you're building relationships, that it's really important to, you know, build great relationships and put your best work forward because I'm sure
Absolutely.
if you guys hadn't like nailed it out the park, that project, she may not have, wanted to back you or introduce you to other people. So I love that. And I think that's
Absolutely. And sometimes it's just I'm sorry.
no,
I
you
was just going to say, sometimes it's just the person who throws your name in the bucket.
hmm
Shout out to Felicia Butterfield because she was the reason why we got that Google business. She was working in the diversity department and they were doing an RFP. And she was like,
hmm
y'all should include 135th. And it
yeah,
went, once a person queues you up, now it's on you to
to
go and win the
deliver.
business.
Hmm
So
Yeah.
we
Yeah.
everybody who competed were friends of hers. So it wasn't like it
hmm
was a hierarchy. There were people
Right.
who were much closer than to her than we were who participated. It was
Mhm.
literally a competition
Yeah.
of the best ideas. And so
Yeah.
when somebody cues you up, you got to show up.
That's right. And you have to deliver and deliver at a level of excellence. And I love that because that's one of the things I always tell our members that I coach. Like, it's very important to make sure that you are building relationships, but also just doing your best work and creating great experiences for your clients because they're going to be your
Mm-hmm.
mouthpiece. They're going to be your ambassadors. So I love that. And thank you for sharing that story. That's pretty exciting. Like, I feel like, you had the opportunity to work in a lot of different areas and sectors. And so I think that's really cool. Um,
Yeah,
so
it's been
I
a journey.
yeah. So I want to kind of like dive into now, fast forward, right? You've built this business and you're working with some of, the top advertisers in the world, brands in the world. What are some of the misconceptions about PR that you've kind of encountered? Like, when you bring on clients and you work with clients, like, what are some of the things that you just see that, like, okay, either they, don't understand or there's a misconception around of how PR works and communications work?
That is a great question to start off with. I would say probably the two biggest um, misunderstood things about PR and communication strategy. And you will always hear me anchor communication strategy to PR because the message is so critical that
Mm,
it's tailored to not only who the story is about, but who the pitch is going to. So
mm,
that strategy,
yeah.
and hyper targeting. But because a general pitch is not going nowhere, I can tell you that
Mhm,
right now.
mhm,
But the number one most misunderstood thing about PR and comms strategy is that people don't know what earned media is unless if they are
mm,
insiders, and insiders don't tend to be the ones who need to hire for PR immediately. So they hire. We've had more concerts, promoters, people who do big events and festivals,
mhm,
people who have big foundations who are
mhm,
trying to do an event and they try to come to us and hire us to do PR thinking that it's going to sell tickets. And we're like, sorry, can't take that business because that's not what it's going to do for you.
That's so good.
PR is an yeah, PR is an exercise in positioning. Yeah, full stop.
Yeah.
Positioning. So it's not going to sell tickets because the art of sales is paid media, right? Paid media is as paid marketing partnerships, paid advertising, where I spent my $150,000 to secure an ad in this magazine or this newspaper. So I know when this thing is printed, my ad is on page 35, page 62, whatever. It's guaranteed. It's paid media. That's marketing and advertising. Earned media means my pitch has to be good enough to earn my placement, my mention, my segment on this, in this magazine, on this television show, in this newspaper, on this radio show. You're just earning your piece of coverage. That's why when people get booked on television, they're usually stunned that they have a 3-minute segment, and they do mean 3 minutes. You go on there ready to bare your soul and you're super excited, and that 3 minutes begins and it's over just like that. You're like, I went through all of that for this 3 minutes and it's over. Yeah.
Yeah. And you're telling the truth. Because I think we talked about this the other day. Yeah. I was like, my first like real like huge like TV coverage interview. It was exactly like that. Like, now they told me I only had 3 minutes, but I didn't want to believe it.
You're like, oh, okay, because you know that when you watch something at home,
the finger.
It feels like it's so long, but it's really not that long. It's just there. It's segment, and that's it. There's only a few slots. And in order to get your client in, you may have to wait months and months until a slot opens up. They may call you and say, they may say, we went through this earlier this year with a client who wanted to ring the bell at the New York Stock Exchange. They didn't have anything available. Then all of a sudden it's Thursday, Friday. They're like, oh, we got tomorrow morning available. Like, we can't do that because the client has to like literally uproot half the staff to fly them in to ring the bell. So no, that's not going to work. But I would say that's the thing, is that earned media coverage is not going to sell tickets. It is not going to sell. We had a lot of beverage owners. It's not going to, your product is not going to fly off the shelf just from the earned media. What the earned media does is it positions you as an authority, as a person who has something remarkable that you need to see. So like if you are, a best way that I can describe it is when you're shopping. And this is actually one of the key main differences, because a lot of people think owned media, which is social. Owned media means I own this media. I control and program all of it myself, like my Instagram page, my Instagram live, my YouTube channel.
Your feed, right?
They convince, your feed. They confuse owned media and earned media. Like, oh, I don't need PR because I have 400,000 followers on social media, whatever. 400,000 followers is awesome, and that will definitely earn you some sponsorships and some influencer gigs and all of that, but it's still not an authority proving positioning. It's not that. It's like if you're going through the aisles looking for Shea Moisture shampoo in Target. You go directly to the aisle where shampoo is to go and find it. And the more and more, so it's like, so as your social media following grows, you go from being on the bottom shelf to the next high up shelf to the next high up shelf. So social media is going to raise your profile in the same aisle where people had to go.
So you're not at the bottom, right?
You're not at the bottom. Yeah, because you gained notoriety.
You're at eye level
still
now.
Has to be looking for the shampoo to go to that aisle.
Right.
What PR and comm strategy does is it's like the equivalent of end cap positioning, where you could be in the supermarket, you could be in the office supply section, but the end cap takes your product and puts it on the end cap. So now everybody walking past every aisle can see the end cap with your product. And now you've been positioned in front of people who did not even know they were looking for shampoo. That's the difference between PR and social media. And so that is really it, is like, that's why it has the ability to catapult your profit. if
Mm,
your positioning is in prime sync with your distribution, so
mm-hmm.
that when people look at it and they're like, I didn't even know I was looking for Shea Moisture shampoo. I just tripped over it. And
Right.
they have a need for it. Your
Mm-hmm.
distribution has you in front of their faces at the same time. Then
Mm,
you have the ability to catapult your product, because
right.
it was all three things work together. But if
Mm,
you only have PR and people can't get it anywhere,
mm-hmm.
or it's not in their region. That's why regional PR, a lot of people don't like it because they look down on it. Everybody looks at the big dogs: Today Show, Good Morning America, New York Times. Everybody wants to be in those. That doesn't make any sense. If you got a restaurant in Tampa, Florida, and you're in you're doing some big national broadcast where most people can't get to you, it's great to put you on their radar if they happen to be traveling to Tampa, but most people aren't going to fly to a restaurant that's way
Right.
outside of their area. So it would serve you better to spend your time on local and regional and tourism targeted press just for the state of Florida.
That's good. That's good. Okay, so if I heard you clearly or correctly, so the biggest kind of misconception is like that PR, if you don't have a story, if you don't have a product that's available, if you don't have like a wow, like, hey, I have something to offer, that
Mm-hmm.
it's
That's
it's
different from everything else.
right, right. So it's really meant for like if you have a story, you have a product or a service that is ready to be positioned and put in front of people, then that can help with getting
Exactly.
exposure and things like that. Okay.
And
And I
the
love how you
second misconception, go ahead.
no, go ahead. No, I was just going to say, I love how you um, describe the difference between earned media, owned media, and paid media, because I think that
Mm-hmm.
that's really important for people to understand is that, you know, you can't just go and hire a PR firm, right? Like we were saying, if you don't have some of these other things in place, because it's not going to do
Mm-hmm.
anything for you.
That's
Yeah,
absolutely true.
and I think that I think that's great. And I think that that really connects with designers, because I know I've had plenty of designers that I've coached in the past. And, when I ask them, well, what are you spending your marketing dollars on? How are you, exposing yourself? Sometimes the first thing they'll tell me is like, oh, I spent, a $3,000 on a magazine ad, like paid, media, but they have no work. They haven't done any really design projects that are notable, and it's like, okay, you just invested all this money for a probably
And
very,
an
very
ad that's
small
not going to pay
ROI.
for itself.
Exactly. So I love that. Thank you for kind of differentiating that, because I think that I want to talk about like we're going to talk about like when to hire a PR agency
Mm-hmm.
or think about going down that lane. But I think it's helpful for people to understand the difference. So you were going to say
Absolutely.
another one. You were going to say there was another.
Yeah, so the second misconception, and this is for people who want to take a proactive role in being a part of their PR campaign, which everyone should. There's no such thing as paying somebody thousands and thousands of dollars and then sitting back and waiting for all of it to shower down on you. You need to be a very proactive participant. That doesn't mean torturing your publicist or agency, but that does mean like when they put you in front of somebody, you show up and show out.
Mm-hmm.
You'd be surprised how many people want to hire a publicist, and then when you put them in front of the media, they're like,
Mm-hmm.
"Oh, I don't know what to say. You do the talking. You
Mm-hmm.
eat, sleep, and breathe what you do and what you're good at." And people need to see that passion emanating from you. If they don't, they're like, "Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay, I'll get back to them later," because you have to
Mm-hmm.
sell it. Your
Mm-hmm.
publicist can then make the face to face meeting happen, but they can't make the person love what you do and really feel the energy coming from it like you do. They cannot do
Mm-hmm.
that.
Yeah.
So the second big misconception is that your mindset has everything to do with the outcome of your communication strategy. Everything, the way that
Mm-hmm.
you approach it, the way that you think about it. And most people have no idea that all of the experiences that you've had all through your life, your traumas, your wins, your heartbreaks, criticism that you pretended didn't bother you, but it did, and you tucked it somewhere and you carry it
Right.
every day, all of those things help to make a comprehensive mindset that is either going to help or hurt your chances of getting press. If you
Mm-hmm.
are one of those people who is so worried about rejection that you rather not even try, you will definitely fail fast and not be able to get back up on
I got to stop you there. So you're saying that your mindset has a direct result in the results that you get when
a
you're,
direct result.
and it's because of
PR
like that
is
fear that could
mm-hmm,
hold you back. Wow. Isn't that crazy how powerful the mind is?
mm-hmm.
So you're
And
saying if
also
you're
how
thinking negative,
long of your life has been that you
mm,
picked up baggage all along the way, and
mhm,
that baggage is too heavy, it's
mm.
going to definitely stand in your way.
So how does that show
You
up? Like I get what you're saying, but I'm
mhm,
wondering how does that actually show up and impact the
mhm.
the results when your mindset is not right in the right place?
The first way and the most common way is that for some reason people think that because they are ready to be covered in the media, that the media is ready to cover them. Like
Mm,
you are
mhm,
literally, it is a discovery process. You are educating journalists and writers
mhm,
all about you. They have never heard of you before. And this one paragraph over email is not going to make them say, oh my God, where has she been all of my life? Unless if you're really lucky, that does happen. But 90% of the time, it's going to be a discovery process.
mhm,
They see it once.
mhm,
If you have a good publicist, they manage to get them on the phone and have a conversation about it and spark an interest. And
mhm,
then hopefully they run across something on social media. Maybe if you have ads synced up, the ad comes across multiple impression points where they
mhm,
go, oh, I got a pitch about that. Oh, I just saw that.
mhm,
Oh, they're scrolling,
mhm,
I'm scrolling, and they're like, oh,
mhm.
you know what? I saw that. All of those things lead to landing that pitch. It's not like, I mean, there's certain
A
things that are
one
easy to
time.
pitch, right? I mean, nobody's
Mhm.
job is as easy as a publicist of like a A-list artist or an actor. You're more
Right.
fielding a bunch of incoming requests and saying
Mhm.
no to 90% of them and yes to like 10% of them. But if
Mm,
you have a project where you are doing it for yourself or
mhm,
you're doing it for a relatively unknown client, and
mhm,
most of the times the clients who have something that the world has never seen before, that's the times when it's going to require you multiple impression points to
mm.
get coverage because people have no idea that this is what they've been missing or needing.
Right. So you have to educate them. So yeah, you're saying so this it's almost like if you're not ready to handle rejection, right? Because it sounds like
Yes,
it
so
could be a
that's
process.
the most common. That's the
Mm,
most common
mm,
way
for
that your
sure.
mindset can set you up. If
Mhm,
you're one of those people where now rejection, humiliation,
mhm,
I make it no secret. Like I have my PhD
mhm.
in rejection and humiliation,
Yeah,
and a couple things about that. No, it does not feel good. It does
yeah.
not.
Nobody.
If
Yeah.
you were a person growing up in the 90s and early 2000s in the music business when it was real raw and
Mhm,
hadn't been worked over by like HR departments yet, 9 out of 10 times wherever you was working was pretty serious and you learned some things in there. And
mhm.
public humiliation was the way that they kept their staffs in control.
Yeah.
And so no one can tell me anything about rejection and humiliation.
Mhm.
PhD.
Yep. I'm
It
right there
doesn't
with
feel good, but the best part about it is
you
it does
learn.
not kill.
Yeah.
You will
You're gonna
survive.
survive, right? And you're gonna probably learn if you're paying
Right.
attention.
Exactly.
Yeah.
People who act like, oh my God, I can't get that rejection,
Devastated. Right.
or I might die. I'm like, you won't die.
Mhm.
Like, only thing that's going to happen is you'll learn how to come back better the next
Yeah.
time.
Yeah.
And so there are a lot of people who are so afraid and so
Mhm.
averse to rejection or what they perceive as humiliation, but is really
Mhm.
just somebody telling you no,
Yeah.
or somebody saying no, you can't have access to this thing right now.
Mhm.
They just stop. They quit.
Mhm.
They give up. Like they're like, nah, I don't want to go any further. I don't like the way that this feels because they didn't get their way right off the bat.
Yeah. Yeah.
If that is the mindset you are walking in with to your publicist or to yourself, if you are launching your own
Mhm.
campaign, which is totally possible and you can have big successes doing it, then you are not ready and you need
Yeah.
to spend some time on that mindset first. So those are the two misconceptions.
I love that. I love that because I do see where a lot of like members, designers that I work with, they never even try to submit their work to a magazine, to, HGTV if they have an idea. Like a lot of times they just don't even try because of exactly what you're talking about. I've heard designers tell me, well, I don't think that my work will get featured. So why even try anyway? And it's one of those areas they don't and I think the ones that do try also struggle with what you were talking about of like having this unrealistic expectation that like the first time they pitch something, even if it's on their own or they're working with a PR person, that they think that everybody should just come running or is going to come running. And then when it doesn't happen, right, they're disappointed. And it's like, yeah, you got to kind of like reframe your mindset and understand how this thing works. So I love that. I think that's so great and helpful for people who are either considering, hiring a PR firm or trying to do it themselves and bootstrap it.
Hmm.
That's really helpful. Now, I want to kind of
Absolutely.
pivot a little
And
bit. Oh, go ahead.
nope, I was just going to say,
Mhm.
contrary to what we all think and believe, that person did not wake up that morning like, oh, I can't wait to get a pitch on this person
Mhm.
because that is going to change my whole life. That is not what they're thinking. They're
Mhm.
busy, they're overworked, they're inundated, their inbox looks like hell, and
Yeah.
they got your pitch. And so
Yeah.
you go into the queue of
Mhm.
everything that of everything that they have to now learn about. And your
Yeah.
job is to make it as easy as possible for them to learn about this thing or create opportunities for them to experience it. That's really what's going to help.
Yeah. Yeah. I love that. I think that's great. It helps kind of put things into perspective, right? Feeling stuck in your 9 to 5, dreaming of starting your own interior design business, but unsure of where to start? Or maybe you've been held back by imposter syndrome or fear of failure. It's time to turn those dreams into a reality. Join the Employee to Designer coaching program and transform your passion into a thriving, profitable business. So, whether you're just starting out or looking to scale, our program offers tailored support with 3 membership levels, mini courses, monthly live coaching, and over 20 hours of business training and access to our Employee to Designer VIP Members Club, where you can connect with a community of other like-minded design professionals and where you can participate in exclusive challenges and gain tips on how to transition, build, grow, and scale a profitable interior design business, all in a smart, responsible, and healthy way. So stop letting fear hold you back, okay? Visit www.moniquenicole.co to learn more and enroll today. And let's build the interior design business and life that you deserve. So I want to pivot a little bit and kind of talk about, and this is a great segue, like talk about what design professionals um, should be doing, or what do they need to do if they're thinking about, hey, I want to get more exposure for my work. Maybe they want to get like featured in a magazine. What advice would you give them on where to start?
So to me, I am one of those people who, even if I wasn't doing comms right now, I have been so in love with designers, design
Mhm.
work, images of their work. I just have folders of stuff where I just save a beautiful home. Like I'm
Mhm.
more obsessed with that than clothes, jewelry, anything else. A beautiful home is a quality of life issue, and who doesn't want to wake up in their dream home every day for the few short years we have on this planet?
Right.
When you are a designer or a decorator and you have your own business, the first thing you have to get clear on, again, not to beat it into the ground, is your mindset.
Tell us.
What
Yeah.
is your approach? What is your approach to this PR or communication strategy? Are you like, I really got to get featured in PR so I can get more clients or so I can make more money immediately?
Mhm.
Or are you playing the long game? Because it is a long game. Are you preparing to make the
That's
investment
good.
in positioning so that people will understand your energy, your passion, your investment in this as a craft, and that and earning your position as this authority? Or is it
Mhm.
like, oh my God, I need more clients, I'm like in a
Mhm.
tight position? Because if that's the case, PR is not the way to go. You need to probably invest in social.
And see, I love that. I love that you just said that, because I think that is that, I know that I hear that a lot, like, oh, I need to, now I'm ready to, I need to get some PR because I need to get more clients, right? And I think that, like you were talking about before, that's one of the biggest misconceptions. It's like PR is very much a long game. So I love that you said that, because
It
it
is a
really
long
does
game.
change the perspective. Yeah.
It is a long game. So once you figured out your mindset, right? That's the first
Yeah.
thing. The second thing is to have a conversation with yourself about earned media.
Mm-hmm.
And the conversation you're having with yourself is, a lot of publicists interview clients, right? To
Mm-hmm.
even see if they're going to take them on. Because if a publicist is thirsty to take on your business because they really need the money, beware. That person is going to make every promise to you without even thinking about it, because there's a desperation in
Mm-hmm.
their ear that's like, you need this money, get this business, right? Where
Right.
they haven't thought about the outcome and can you deliver this business.
Mm-hmm.
If some publicists interview the clients and they want you to communicate to them, like, what is remarkable about your business, because they
Mm-hmm.
have to help you earn that placement. And if you're launching your own PR campaign, it's even more critical that you're asking yourself this question: what is remarkable about my business? And if you have to spend time going on and on and on with way too many words, then
Mm-hmm.
you don't know what's remarkable about your business.
Mm-hmm.
If
That's
you can't articulate in a short, because one thing about it is, this is 2024 and
mm-hmm.
reading is over.
Yeah.
That is over.
Yes.
People want to see as few words in the email as possible. Otherwise, they will open it and close it and not go back.
Mm-hmm. It's
At
coming.
this point, I'm getting more success on WhatsApp and text pitches, 2 sentences. And your skill has to be figuring out how to say what's remarkable about this business in 2 or 3 sentences.
So kind of like an
If you
elevator
are
pitch, right?
kind of like an elevator pitch,
Yeah.
although I hate the idea of an elevator pitch. I
Okay.
never did like it. It was always weird to me. What you like, it depends on what you're trying to get. Yes.
But
Because an elevator pitch is trying to do too much in a short amount of time. I
mm-hmm.
hate it. But
Mm-hmm.
saying what is remarkable about your business in a few words is
Mm-hmm.
critical to
Yeah.
so many things. If you
Yeah.
are looking for investment in your business, if you're
Mm-hmm.
looking for PR for your business, if you're looking to pitch business like a new client or customer or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
you still have to boil down and figure out, what do I offer customers, clients, the world, that is different from the other guy who's doing the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
If
Mm-hmm.
you are meandering on and on and on and on, and their eyes are glazing over and you have way too many words,
Mm-hmm.
you don't know yet. You got to work on that. So that's
Right.
the other thing. So we're working on our mindset. We're
Mm-hmm.
really understanding earned media and what we're going to use to earn the media.
Okay.
The other thing is, the third most critical thing is, where do you want to get featured? You have to be so honest with yourself about this. A lot of people
Mm-hmm.
are just not, because they don't understand who the key players are that can help them. We are all watching mainstream media. That's why it's mainstream. Everyone is getting Today Show and Good Morning America and New York Times and Washington Post. All of us, we're all getting
Mm-hmm.
that, right? That is not, because that's the only media that you know, and you see your friend who had a business get featured on Good Morning America. That is not your motivation for where you need to be.
Mm-hmm.
You need to look at all the players that are covering what you do, right?
Okay.
Or all the media outlets that the person who would be your ideal customer, what are they reading? What are they spending
Mm-hmm.
their time on? Because I love my interior decorating magazines, but I mean, I love my Domino and all of
Mm-hmm.
that, and HGTV Mag, and who doesn't love Architectural Digest and all of the
Right.
key players. But that's industry insiders, and industry
Mm-hmm.
insiders don't tend to be the bulk of your customers. Your customers are
Mm-hmm.
people who don't know where to start at home.
Mm-hmm.
Some of them will be reading Architectural Digest and Domino and some of those magazines, but the vast majority of them is like, I can't afford what's in Architectural Digest.
Right.
They're
Right.
like, no, I don't want that. So the vast majority of them are probably looking for a person who is a candidate for interior decor or
Mm-hmm.
design. They are a person who understands the value of transforming their home and improving their quality of life through a visual, upgrade.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, they
Mm-hmm.
could just leave it the
Yeah.
way that it is. There's a certain person who can
Right.
appreciate the beauty of a home, who wants to walk in the door from work every day and feel a fresh, clean, beautiful home that reflects who they are, their cultural
Yeah.
heritage, their design aesthetic. If they're a person like me who likes modern minimalism, but
Mm-hmm.
with color, then
Mm-hmm.
they want to see that. If they're a person who wants something very traditional and old school, they want to see that. If that person, they are reading magazines that focus on beautiful visuals,
Mm-hmm.
and
Yeah.
they could be a person who wants to get those beautiful design aesthetics at a budget.
Mm-hmm.
You
Yeah.
don't want a client who, you don't want to shoot too high. I mean, there's nothing wrong with wanting
Yeah.
a client that's going to only want high end stuff in the house, but that's going to be a smaller pool of people you have to choose from.
Yeah.
So I
Yeah.
go to magazines where, people are just looking at beautiful stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Vogue, I would say, In Style,
Mm-hmm.
magazines where people care about the visual, the look, how something is laid out and put together. Those are places where I would also shoot to go. Some of
Yeah.
these online media outlets that are fashion, based, like
Right.
Refinery 29, or
Mm-hmm.
Apartment Therapy,
EMP.
or
Right.
InStyle.com,
Mm-hmm.
or Target.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
right.
Because a lot, right. They have a home decor line.
Buyers are
Yeah.
at Target. They doing the damn thing.
Yes.
So,
Yes.
making sure that you buy digital or
Mm-hmm.
social ads in those places, but
Mm-hmm.
also pitching to be in. They have a whole design, feature for uh, people who make furniture,
Mm-hmm.
designers who decorate homes,
Mm-hmm.
for African American women who are clothing designers. They have a
Mm-hmm.
whole thing in Target.
Yeah.
Submitting yourself for that, doing partnerships.
Mm-hmm.
When you find out that there's a big event coming in town, submitting yourself as one of the designers to be on the project,
Mm-hmm.
because everybody's looking to partner with people of color.
Right.
Those kinds of things. Pitching the online media outlets for your favorite fashion magazine, all
Mm-hmm.
of those places are fair game for
Yeah.
someone who is trying to show a beautiful design. Also,
Mm-hmm.
creating experiences that people get to touch and feel and then spread the word about. If you're a
Mm-hmm.
designer, you have to have spaces that you've designed that people can come in and see and be like, oh my
Mm-hmm.
God, the fabric, the this, the that. This is an experience.
Right.
And making sure that those experiences get covered.
Mm-hmm. I
I don't
love
know if
that.
you guys are
So,
paying attention, but there's some of these chefs out here that are
yeah.
doing some of these like coconut cup and some of these
Mm-hmm.
other ones where they just like take a kitchen and transform that thing, and you've
Mm-hmm.
got the mimosa bar and the shrimp bar and the this and that, and
Right.
things hanging like coconuts hanging from lights and all of that.
Mm-hmm.
That is
Yeah.
art.
It's pretty. Yeah. It's amazing.
All
Yeah.
the people who are watching those people and liking it, those are
Mm-hmm.
all potential customers for an interior decorator. You
Yeah.
love the
Yeah.
beauty of how this man laid that food out.
Yeah. I love that. And, I feel like, um, what you're saying is like we have to think outside of the box, right? Not just like looking at the big magazines that yeah, we would maybe one day love to be have our a spread in, but like really get into the minds of our ideal customer and like think about like what are they interested in, like outside
Mhm.
of just the normal, right, design magazines, but like where are they like getting into the psychographics of what they consume
Yep.
and like what they're interested in, because I do agree, like, and I think it's such a missed opportunity that there's so many cross like functional brands
Mhm.
that we can tap into as designers and really, like you
Yep.
said, connect with those ideal clients. So I love that. And I think it just takes a little bit of upfront work. And this is something that I always tell our members is like really do that avatar, figure out like what's their, not just with the basics, like what their age is, where they live,
Mhm.
the demographics, all that. But like, I think what you're saying is like really dive into like what the
Mhm.
mindset of your customer and like where are they, what are they interested in, and think outside the box.
Absolutely. And this customer tends to be into a few things like again, lean in on that food aspect, because
Mhm.
if you have somebody who loves to see a chef at really transform a kitchen, 9 out of 10
Mhm.
times they're seeking a transformation at an event, at
Yeah.
home. Lean in on those people who just like to
Yep.
see the way food is laid out beautifully, or
Yeah.
is following one of those Instagram influencers that just buys a million things from Amazon and posts it and
Mhm.
shows how they put all of these gadgets in the house and
Yeah.
clean and organize the house. All of those Instagram
Mhm.
influencers that are Amazon influencers as well. And all people do is sit there and watch them vacuum the mattress and
Mhm.
change up the bathroom. Those
Right.
people who follow that person, that
Mhm.
is your customer.
Yeah.
Also, and lastly, I will say that when it comes to media,
Mhm.
don't underestimate the ability of regional and local media to transform your whole business. Like
Mhm.
that is your local newspapers,
Yeah.
getting to know those editors and inviting them to come and experience one of your designs. That
Mhm.
is key
That's so
in
great.
winning them over.
Yeah, that reminds me of when I first moved back to Virginia, which is my hometown, from New York City, New Jersey, which is where I built my business. I remember moving here and people saying to me like, "Oh, your business is not going to be successful. Like nobody has the money or wants to invest in interior design." And I just have we come from the hard knocks, right? So
Right,
working and living in New York. So I was like, that went in one ear and out the other. So I was like, okay, watch me. So
right.
literally, I remember like our launch party, I partnered with Ferguson, the lighting company, and they have a beautiful showroom here in Newport News, Virginia. And I just, boldly just pitched my pitch and was like, hey, I'm a designer here, I'm a decorator here, I'm new to the area, but I've been in business for a while, and I would love to introduce my business to this market and have Ferguson as kind of like the conduit to help me do that. And literally they allowed me to rent out the showroom for a whole day. I had guest speakers. I partnered with different companies, local businesses. And to your point, one of the things that I was able to do, which I think made such a big difference, was like you said, partnering with local companies on a local market.
Mm-hmm.
And we did like a press release, but not really. It was kind of like I was just reaching out to, well, we did a press release, but I did reach out to some like close friends of mine in the small business sector. And somehow the word got out, and the mayor of the city came out to the event,
I
right?
love it.
So, like, to your point, like, like you said, like thinking outside of the box and partnering with people, because it's such a great way to, I feel like, connect and, you
Mm-hmm.
know, connect with people in your area. And the thing was, most of my clients were professional women who worked in high
Mm-hmm.
level, positions, politics. And so, partnering with some of these local companies really did help spread the
Yep.
word. So I love that
And
advice.
I love that story. I
Yeah.
mean, there's nothing like local community connections that
Yeah.
when everybody you guys are all after the same customer.
Mhm.
Why
Mhm.
not collaborate?
Yeah. And it's so funny. Like after that event, I remember getting an email from a friend of mine. She works for the SBA. She's retired now, but and I had invited the SBA as well, but she was like, "Hey, I know the mayor came and she works with them." And she was like, um, she's actually looking for, it wasn't her, it was another like, kind of high political official. And she was like, "I have someone and she's looking for window treatments." And like literally,
I
like
love
this
it.
woman, you can't even call her. Like she has an assistant, like a gatekeeper, and good luck if you can even get her on the phone. But yeah, I got this referral just through, connecting, like you said. So I think
That
that's
is
such great
beautiful.
advice. Yeah. Yeah.
Yep.
Awesome. So I want to kind of like, now that you've just dropped some really good gems, I think that was, if hopefully y'all are listening and taking notes, because she just literally told us how to, set off our PR campaign and kind of the do's and don'ts. But I
Right.
want to I want to ask this question because I know that our audience probably is dying to hear the answer, right? You've built this amazing, successful PR firm. But you know, I think it's important, and I would love to have you answer or just talk about what if a designer is either, let's just say they're ready, right? Because we already talked about like when you're not ready, and not to
Mm-hmm.
jump in. But let's
Yeah.
just say they are ready. But maybe they, for whatever reason, can't afford to hire someone like a PR agency,
Mm-hmm.
someone like yourself, or, they just don't kind of like know where to start. Is this something that a designer can do on their own? Can they do their own PR? And if so, what does that look like? And, kind of the differences between working with an agency like yourself or doing it themselves.
So I'm so glad you asked that question, because as a business owner, I understand it's a kind of like a double-sided plight, right?
Mm-hmm.
You are busy doing the thing that you do to serve and satisfy your clients and your customers. And so you're like, I can't take on another thing.
Mm-hmm.
I need help in this area. But then on the flip side, you're like, I am working this hard to get this money in. I cannot be paying somebody $5,000 to $10,000 a month
Right.
for coverage that may or may not come in. I
Mm-hmm.
need guarantees. And the fastest way to lose a good publicist is to ask her to guarantee what kind of coverage you're going to get, because she
Mm-hmm.
can't do that.
Okay.
You
Did
have to
y'all hear
earn it.
that? That's one of the don'ts.
Yes, fastest
Don't do
way.
that.
If you are of the mindset that you are going to hire a high powered publicist, it
Mm-hmm.
is $5,000 to $10,000 a month, depending on who you get, and sometimes more,
Okay.
depending on who they've worked with.
Mm-hmm.
And the cheaper that their rate is,
Mm-hmm.
usually you get what you pay for. So if
Mm-hmm.
somebody says, I can do your PR for $500, $1,000 a month, beware. It's
Okay.
not impossible, but just beware, because that may be somebody learning on your dime.
Mm. That's good.
So you're like, you got this two-sided coin of, I'm way too busy to dive into this and now become the publicist, and but I don't have $5,000 to $10,000 that I'm willing to relinquish every month for
Right.
maybe coverage, right?
Right. Right.
So for that reason, I'm actually launching a coaching program to help democratize access to these PR services, because one of the things that really bothers me is that only these billion-dollar brands have the ability to have access to high-level professional
Mm-hmm.
communication strategy. And
Mm-hmm.
the company is built on advocacy for Black-owned media and Black-owned business, meaning my company, 135 Agency. That's what we do. We fight every day in the trenches. We take our wounds and our hits, and people hating, and people who don't like what we've said about the fact that they have to pay respect to Black owned business and Black owned media. But what could we be doing on our own? And one of the things we could be doing is democratizing access to these services by unlocking some of the secrets, right? Because
Mm-hmm.
it's totally doable, no matter what your business is: restaurant, interior decorator, a dentist practice, whatever your service is, tourism. You can definitely launch your own comms campaign. You just have to be ready. There are 5 critical key areas that you have to dive into and spend time educating yourself and learning. And
Mm-hmm.
then it will not feel like, oh my God, I have to stop doing what I do every day, serving my clients and customers, to do this. Once you
Mm-hmm.
get your
Right.
mindset right, get your research done about what outlets, figure out what's remarkable and how you say it really well and say it repeatedly in a really compelling way. The rest of it is literally, it should feel like just a part of your business. You should
Mm-hmm.
really be a person who can, by the time you've done your analysis of mindset, analysis of what exactly the goals and targets and goals are that you want out of this campaign,
Mm-hmm.
analysis of how I communicate what's remarkable. Once those 3 core things are done, then
Mm-hmm.
it's time to craft the pitch and keep refining it. You never
Mm-hmm.
stop refining your pitch. You don't just
Good to know.
get one and you're like, oh, done. I don't have to do this anymore. your pitch should be changing as the world changes. And this world changes at this point about every 30 days.
Right.
And there's something new, the news cycle none of us can keep up with. Social media, new ones are popping up today. What you're doing right now, you won't be doing 5 years from now. And where you spend your time now will be old in 5 years. So your pitch should be moving just like that, constantly evolving and growing as your business grows, constantly adding to it, adding the more and more remarkable things about your business. So once those things are done, and it should be something that you can definitely make time for because you eat, sleep, and breathe your business. Talking about it should become second nature. It really should. And talking about it in a compelling way that doesn't make people's eyes glaze over or to make them tune out. That's really critical. And then the exercises in engaging the media and giving them the opportunity to experience what you provide. And that is where the coaching program will help you to figure out how to do that. Because there are some critical steps involved, and you definitely don't want to waste money on a high-powered publicist, and then 3 months later you're out $15,000 or possibly $30,000 and you don't have anything to show for it. If you do not want to make that financial risk, you most definitely should take on the responsibility of launching your own campaign, but understand it is not an overnight investment. It is a long game. It is something you can get so good at that you actually start to see your PR wins as wins that you celebrate. It is something that you can have wild success with. And it can align up with just the right timing, the right distribution of what you do, the access to it, creating the experiences, and then adding social on top, which is like the perfect way to make a business explode. All of that is possible. So I would say do not run away from the idea of launching your own comms campaign for your business, because number one, it will save you money in having I have a list of the 8 biggest, most expensive mistakes that business owners make that prevent them from being featured in the media. And I'm sure you guys will get access to it.
We're gonna make sure you get access.
One of the biggest things on there is number one, not spending when you're not ready to spend. And you have assessed your ability to do it on your own. Also, not being ready with all of the information that you need to be ready with, meaning all the things I just talked about, not having your mindset ready, all of that. And then being ready when opportunity presents itself to present a remarkable company to partners. Don't just look at it as media hits. Media is way bigger than just radio, TV, broadcast, and online. Partnerships, events coming through your city, festivals, local politicians, all of that should be included in your own personal PR campaign. And you will see that the difference from when you start to whenever your 6-month milestones are is huge. Go ahead. Sorry.
No. I was just going to say, I wanted to highlight what you said a little while ago about how, it's important to own the process yourself, and it, should become like second nature. And I think that's such great advice, because I feel like, like people don't know when to hire someone to do their PR or to do it themselves. And if they do decide to do it themselves, a lot of times they don't know where to start. Right. But I love how you shared the cost, because it's not cheap. And I think some people think, oh, they can just hire, a cheap PR person and get really great results. And it's like, no, it's one of those things, like you said, is a long game, and that it's also not cheap. And so you don't want to spend that money if you're not either ready, or if you're not in that right mindset. Right. So I love that. But I think to the point where you were saying, people have to, be willing to integrate it into what they're doing once they learn how to do it. I think is great. And that's great news that it's something that designers and decorators can do themselves, just as long as they have
Absolutely.
right education, which is why I am so excited about your coaching program. And I'd love for you to kind of just, as we kind of wrap up, tell us a little bit more about your coaching program, if you can. Or I know that you have a masterclass coming up. So
Yep.
I would love to kind of have you share a little bit about that. And then we'll wrap up. But I think that this is going to be something that's great for especially for our audience, because
Yeah.
getting them over that hurdle of like the fear, right, of
Hmm.
the rejection or just not knowing where to start, and then
Hmm.
really helping guide them along, like integrating and owning this part of their business, I think is
Yes.
really amazing. Yeah.
And
So,
I'll even take that just like a step further and say that if you are a person who has contemplated launching your own comms campaign, but you felt like I don't know what what's involved, and it does take a specialist and this and that.
mhm,
You're right. It does take a specialist to launch a professional level campaign that someone is going to pay $15,000 $20,000 a month for. But when it comes to your business, you are the perfect person to at least get it started.
mhm,
And then if you feel like you need to hand it off to somebody else because you're getting that much media interest in, then great. But if not, you haven't lost anything. And
mhm,
you've learned how to master the art of communications about your business. How
mhm.
you communicate about your business is so
Yeah.
critical to the life and growth trajectory of your business.
Yeah.
And I could just demystify one thing right now, that if
Mhm.
you're contemplating it, that you may be worried about or losing sleep about, you're going to get rejected. That is going to happen a lot.
Yeah.
And guess what? You will live another day to make a new
Mhm.
pitch, try it again.
Yeah.
And that is okay. And guess what? Even the $20,000, $30,000 a month PR agency, they're getting rejected hourly. They just
Mm.
have made, their success rate is unless if they're representing Beyonce, their
Right.
success rate is probably somewhere around 10%. 10% of their
Wow.
pitches they land. That
Wow.
is what it is. You're
That's
out
like
there
trading.
pitching everyone all the time.
Yeah.
And so when people are discovering something new, they might be
Mhm.
slow to get it. But once they
Mhm.
do get it, they will, a small feature in a local newspaper can do
Yeah.
wonders.
Yeah.
And each time you get a little hit on something, you take that and you use that as a case study for the next place.
Mm.
Look, we got featured in so and so.
Mhm.
Then you start building the big M word, momentum. But totally possible.
Yeah, and I think, I love that you're doing this coaching program, because it just tells people and lets us know that like it is possible when you learn a new skill set. Like I know I can attest, like I'm the queen of like figuring it out, figuring something new out. Like this podcast is a perfect example. I started it
Mm-hmm.
this year and I knew nothing about podcasting, but I've learned and I've taken, coaching sessions. I've watched, trainings on how to do it. And so I love that you're creating this opportunity for not just designers, but, people in general who want to, you
Mm-hmm.
know, take on the ability to own, their coverage, own their story.
Mm-hmm.
So I love that. So you got a coaching program coming up. When is it going to be kind of ready? Is it in the works? Like, can you give us a little bit of a sneak peek, a little bit, or not yet?
So what I can tell you is we'll have the masterclass on the 16th. The masterclass is going to be a deeper dive of
Mhm.
those core 5 principles that I touched on this podcast.
Yeah.
The masterclass will also educate everyone about the 5-day challenge that is coming, called Profit from PR Power.
Yes.
Because there is a way where you can put yourself on a path to have momentum in your profits, and PR can power that. A lot of
Mm.
other things have to sync up, but it is completely possible. And so we'll talk about all of that and how on earth you do it on your own when you are already the bookkeeper, the
Mm.
accountant, the janitor, the CEO, and everybody else in your business. I get it. I get it. I get it. Because you wear several hats now. How could you be doing this too? It
Yes.
should become not only second nature, but something that is saving you money while building and sharpening your ability to communicate about your business.
Mm,
Everyone thinks that they are communicating everything that they need to communicate about their business in the best possible way. 90% of us are wrong. And I said us, I'm in there too. You
mm-hmm.
can always be communicating about your business in a better way. Always.
Mm.
You
So
can
always
always be
refining.
refining the
Yeah.
message. You always refine the message. You can
Mm-hmm.
always be making it more short, punchy, impactful. You can chat GPT is not going to be the only solution to
No.
the way that you talk about your business. You can always be communicating the client experience when you talk about your business.
Mm,
Always. So don't think you nailed anything because you
mm,
haven't.
mm,
You will, and don't think that rejection is the worst possible thing because you haven't. To me, what's worse is thinking that you know it all about your business and you've mastered the art of communicating at it about it and not working on getting better. Anything you're not
mm-hmm.
proactively working on getting better at,
Yes.
you're actively working on getting worse at,
Mm-hmm.
because the world is changing,
Mm-hmm.
communications is changing, messaging is changing,
Mm-hmm.
technology is changing. The way that you communicate now, there used to be a time in comms where they would put a press release out that was a page and a half and then distribute that widely.
Mm-hmm.
And you send somebody something that's a page and a half now, you do not have to worry about them reading it at all. I can tell you right now, it's not happening.
Yeah.
It's not.
Yeah.
Even if
Wow.
you look
How
at the way
things have
political messages
changed.
are sent out now, a
Mm-hmm.
political e-blast. Look at the e-blast coming from Kamala Harris for president.
Mm-hmm. Mm.
They will break somebody down in 5 sentences and done.
Wow.
That's the statement.
That's
That's
it.
it.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow. That's awesome. This is such great advice. And I think it's revolutionary, honestly, what you're doing, because I don't know anybody in the PR realm field who's doing this work that you're doing, and then, really helping those really understand how this all works and empowering them to, take charge of their own business. So I'm excited about this program. And I'll make sure that we all get all the deets once they're available. I know you're still working on getting that, and we'll be doing the master class. So I'll be sending out information about that. But I want to just thank you for joining today. This was some really great gems. I learned a whole lot.
Yeah, this was fun.
Even though I've been following your work for many, many years, I don't think I've ever had, we've had like an in-depth conversation about like how this PR thing all works. So thank you for
Yeah,
taking us through it. Yeah, this is some good stuff.
absolutely. Thank you
Yeah.
for having me. This was so exciting.
Yeah.
I'm super excited about the launch of your podcast and to tune into a lot more episodes that are coming up and just all of it. And you know that I am such a big fan of your work. You changed my home. If you guys can see, the colorscape in
Mhm.
here is a slate gray with a raspberry color.
Yeah.
And those are like
Shante
two
put
of
that.
my favorite colors.
Yes.
And she helped me to turn my home into a Z Gallery home, which was what
Yeah.
I came in the door like, I want a Z Gallery home.
You did.
And
You did.
we everything, the
Yeah.
mirrors, all of it. Like I was obsessed with Z Gallery. I had the VIP membership card that they
I
made for
remember that she had like the black card to Z
us.
Gallery.
Yes.
Like I don't think I've even had another client who had like this level of status. I didn't even have that level of status.
And it was a ride.
Yeah,
And
it was
then
good.
just multiple projects that we've worked on together. I think your ability to create an energy transformation in a home is unrivaled. I love it. If Monique is your coach, you're certainly going places and getting the best possible coaching that you can get because she knows what she's talking about. And it is like a God-given talent what this girl can do to a home. So thank you so much. I appreciate it. I look forward to it. If
Yeah.
anybody wants more
Yes. How can we
details
get in
on,
contact with you?
yeah, if you
You can't
want
leave
more
us.
details
Mhm.
about the, huh?
I said you can't leave us until you tell us how we can follow you, stay connected with you on your social
So
media
the two places where you can find the most information out about who I am, my background, and there will be a lot more posted about the Profit from PR Power Challenge is Instagram at Shante, Shante, Bacon, Bacon, and on my YouTube channel. So on the YouTube channel, also at Shante, Shante, Bacon, Bacon, you will see a playlist called Social Proof. And that is me providing social proof that I walk it like I talk it. I have launched my own PR campaign because we have a growing business as well, and I'm not willing to spend $10,000 to $15,000 on professional level PR, not where I'm at right now, because I know it's something I can handle on my own. And you will see interviews from Sirius XM Radio. There's some advertising age stuff there. There's Moby. There's the National Urban League. There are podcasts. There are awards and panels. I'm on a panel with Cardi B and Karen Civil in one of them. And these are all things that I pitch for myself just to make sure to put my business out there and position myself as an authority. So you will see on that social proof playlist all of the different things that, and that's not even all of it. Like there's Essence Live episodes that I've done that don't even exist anymore because Essence was, purchased by a new owner who didn't keep the Essence Live stuff up. But it is so critical that you want to make this investment in yourself, know that it's possible, know that you will constantly be working on it the same way you're working on everything else. It's worth your time and attention to position yourself as an authority. And has everything to do with one day if you want to exit and sell your company, to be able to point to all of these authority declaring media pieces.
Yes. And I love that they just live online. So it's like they never go away. And I feel like they grow legs. And I love how, like, you've kind of brought this all the way back full circle, like how you were talking about when we first started talking, like this is the long game, right? But it can do wonders for your business. And how you just mentioned, like, as you prepare, like, this is one of the things I talk to our members about is like, okay, what are you going to do today, right, to set yourself apart and work at a level of excellence, doing what you love. But also you want to think about what is the future going to look like for you, right? Do you want to retire? Do you want to sell your business? Do you want to maybe pass your business down to your children? And what is the legacy that you're going to leave for them? And I feel like, being able to understand how PR works and, like you said, own it. And, whether you hire someone like yourself, Shante, or, a designer takes it on themselves, I feel like it's such a great thing to start to learn now, because it will help to, again, create that legacy, that long-term legacy for your business and for your family. So,
and I will also add that even if you are one of those people who is like, I don't have the time, I'm going to go ahead and hire a publicist, it's still good to do the 5-day challenge and possibly get into the program, just so that you can avoid con artists. Because I'm telling you now, absolutely no one today can walk into a hospital and go into the surgery room, the operating room, and say, hey, can you hand me that scalpel? I feel like doing surgery today. Can't do it. There are multiple layers of education, degrees, certification, internship, this and that, before you finally make it to be the person who's going to cut somebody open, right? There are plenty of careers where you have to be degreed up. You got to be certified. You got to do an internship. You got to do real live practicing. Think about, in the first responders, what they have to go to become a fireman or a policeman, or in the armed services, in the military. All of those things, no one can just walk off the street and say, hey, I'm a naval officer today. PR is not that. Anyone from anywhere who wakes up and feels like they knew a girl in school who was a publicist, or they hung out at enough parties, or they helped their friend this one time with, or, I really like this sounds cool to me, can present a good facade and sell themselves as a publicist.
Wow.
You need to ask for receipts, receipts upon receipts. Ask them for social proof. People can, whenever somebody asks me what I do, I say, Google me, because I know what's going to show up.
The same way, right? We want our clients to
5 or 6 articles in essence. Like, I know what's going to come up. Yeah. So, ask for the social proof. A person who has not had themselves featured is probably not going to be able to get you featured. And also a person who, when you say, even if you say, if the person is not able to say, Google me, say, look, give me one client that I can put into Google and see some of the media hits that you have gotten. If they can't do that,
okay, did y'all hear that?
You definitely
You're
need
fact
to make
checking.
sure that you do not get conned,
Right.
because it does not feel good to write anybody a $2,500 check for nothing. So
yeah,
join the challenge, learn how to do this thing. It is the long game. You can do it. I know it. I can't wait to see all of the media articles and the coverage that comes from everyone who's doing it on their own and those who want to hire someone else.
I can't wait either. And, I just love this because I feel like you're just like dropping all these gems that like even I've always had questions about. So I think this is just going to be so valuable to our audience. And so I appreciate you. And I'm excited for the challenge because just so y'all know, I'm going to take the challenge too, because this is an area, honestly, like I've kind of just done it grassroots, just, good old winging it. Right. But like, even just from our conversation, I'm like, oh, okay, I did that right. But maybe I probably didn't do that right. So I know that there's a lot that I need to learn too. But I do know the power of, PR and like leveraging it from just the little that I've done on my own. And so I know this challenge is going to even just open that up even more. So I'm super excited about that. Thank you for letting us learn with you and from you. And I can't wait for us to do the masterclass coming up on the 16th.
I can't wait.
I'll be sharing more information and so that you guys can join. And
it's going to be fun.
Yeah, I can't wait to learn. This is going to be good. So I want to thank you, Shante, for joining us. I appreciate it. And for everyone else, thank you for tuning into today's episode on Design Your Own Buzz. If you enjoyed today's episode, please subscribe, rate, and leave us a review on whatever, podcast platform that you're listening or maybe watching this from. Make sure that you follow and connect with Shante on her social media outlets, as well as ours at Monique Nicole Co., where you can, view this episode. You can share it as well, or you can visit us at moniquenicole.co online for more tips and inspiration. And until next time, keep designing and have purpose. Yes.